Welcome to Money Talks, a weekly feature on FM 93.5 The Berg and WMEG AM 740. Today we will talk just a little bit about money, maybe some of the things you can do with it, how it can impact your life, some ideas on financial planning and investing, and getting the most out of the money you hope to have, already have, or want to pass down. So sit back, relax, listen, and maybe take some notes, as you may have some questions by the time we're done with this edition of Money Talks. Good morning, Dan Joss. How are you today?
Doing well. Good morning.
Glad to have you here. So we're back to another exciting edition of Money Talks. And today, I think we're going to talk about money, but let's get the dirt on money. Let's talk about some dirt when it comes to money.
Real estate.
Real estate dirt. That's right.
Good.
All right. So we're going to talk about residential or commercial or what do you want to talk about here?
How to invest in real estate. Most of my clients have homes.
Okay.
But I don't consider their home a real estate investment. I consider it more of a lifestyle expense.
A lifestyle expense, depending on the home. Yeah. Okay.
That is. Well, and so when I talk about investing, I talk about something that's in addition to things that we use every day. We use our home every day.
Right.
And it will appreciate in some places across the country more or less than inflation. But it gets taxed and we use it, so it's more of a use asset.
Yeah, I guess
and
that
it may
makes sense.
Appreciate, but it may also depreciate. And we saw that a decade ago.
Yep.
So an investment is a separately held piece of property, which could be a residential piece of real estate that we rent to, the college students in the area, or a second house that we rent out throughout the year, or an apartment building somewhere, or a condo, or 2 or 3 units. That would be an investment that's separate from where we live.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And so there's advantages to residential real estate investing, and there's also disadvantages. And a disadvantage is it's usually just in one place.
Yeah.
You know what they say about real estate? Location, location, location.
I've heard that before.
Well, if you own a residential piece of property for renting to others, you own it, and it's in one place.
Usually, unless it's a mobile home.
Well, then it would be in one place at different times, I guess.
Something like that.
But so the disadvantage is it's not geographically diversified. It's just one house, and it could be a large investment.
Right.
And there it sits. And if it sits in Florida or the Outer Banks when the storms come, there it used to sit.
Yeah, they're used to sit. Or maybe if it sits out in some of these towns where the mills shut down 20 years ago.
Yep, Danville.
It still sits there.
Danville
vacant.
has some very low expensive housing out there.
Yeah.
And so that's a disadvantage.
Okay.
An advantage is you can leverage it. So you can borrow against it and have someone else pay down the mortgage over a period of years.
Right.
And so those all go together. A disadvantage is there's may or may not be tax complications.
Right. Always got to think about taxes.
Recapture and income and how often you may use it if it's at a vacation place.
Right.
So those are
sometimes those vacation houses you go to, there's a lot of work you got to do there.
That's right. Well, and most investors discount the work that they put into something. And if they had to pay someone else to do it, it wouldn't be a worthwhile investment.
That's right.
Right. So they do the work themselves, and they kind of just they don't talk about that.
Right. Okay.
But when you're investing, you should count all the costs.
Yes. I think that's probably a good decision.
So another way to invest in real estate is REITs, and I've mentioned this before, real estate investment trusts.
Okay.
Similar, you could buy a REIT in one location. Some REITs have several properties around either a geographical area or type of properties around the country.
Okay.
And then you could buy a mutual fund of REITs, which is all of those, diversified among location and type of property.
Nice.
So
that way one could own some student houses, some office buildings, some apartments, and they could be diversified. And they could do that in a couple of different cities, all with having their money in one real estate investment trust.
Yep.
Okay. Assuming that's the real estate investment trust that has those things in it.
Right.
Maybe they only want a real estate investment trust that has something in
just apartments. Or healthcare.
Right.
Or cell phone towers.
So that's sort of like being
timber.
a landlord without having to worry about tenants.
Well, someone else has to worry about those tenants.
Someone else has to worry about those tenants.
But the return on REITs over the last 10, 15, 20 years has been 10% annually after all the expenses. And it's hard-pressed to find a residential real estate that has appreciated 10% each year for the last decade.
Okay.
So those are some issues.
Right.
A way to be diversified, not as involved with our time like we would be if we were the landlords.
Yeah, because nobody's calling you as the investor in the REIT to come unclog a toilet at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
Right.
And if my REIT is just timber or a data storage facility, I don't even have that.
That's true. Okay. But if your REIT is in timber, then that would have a tendency to fall.
It would.
Yeah.
It would. So that's it. Everyone loves real estate. Real estate is a great investment, but I encourage listeners to differentiate between the house that we live in and use every day and an investment that has greater potential return.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. And there's pros and cons of each, and you just think about what you prefer to do.
And that's excellent that you bring out that distinguishment between the two, because it is so easy to just think of our home as an investment, but it's really more than that. It's not a true investment from the sense of the use that goes along with it. So good for you for thinking outside the box that way, and I think that's what you do at Joss Financial.
That's right.
Yep. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, and what's the best way for them to call?
They can give me a call at 757-903-2127.
All right. And online at?
jossfinancial.com.
Very good. Well, thank you, Dan Josh. You have a great day, and thanks for being part of Money Talks.
Thank you, Greg.
Money Talks is a weekly program presented for the listener's benefit and entertainment. It is provided at no cost to the listener, and the ideas, opinions, and comments are not to be construed as legal advice, tax advice, investment advice, or other advice specific to the listener. Listeners are encouraged to seek the advice of a licensed professional or other qualified party when dealing with financial, legal, tax, medical, investment, insurance, taxidermy, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, real estate, chiropractic, veterinary, oral hygiene, hot air ballooning, etc. We have given you some food for thought. Now, call a licensed professional such as Dan Joss at 757-903-2127. Thanks for listening, and remember, failing to plan is planning to fail.